Jeff Howard here at Kiteboarding.com. We've got another riding tip. We've had some questions from customers who have kind of sent in and asking about how to do something, and a lot of them want to learn how to kite loop. So let's see if I can give you the small tips of giving you the safest way you can probably get into learning some of the kite loops. Now, kite loops do not have to be as aggressive as you might think or you see some of the guys pull out there. If you want to do that and you want to get a little crazy, learn the steps one at a time, get your confidence built up, and then try to pull something like you see some of those big guys do in the high winds. But I'm going to show you some basics to start you in understanding how the kite loop works and how you can enjoy doing it. Now, a big thing I want to get into first is kites. Some kites kite loop better than others, and what I mean by that is when you get a C-type kite or a hybrid type kite, which is a little bit longer in the tips, it's not as quite bow-type shape, not as quite flat. Those are the kites that turn a lot better when you kite loop them, or when you do loop them, they give you a drive. It's called what I call a corkscrew effect. When you pull on it and you turn, the kite will give you that yank right as it does the loop around. Now, again, there are kites that are better at that. In the ozone side, you're looking at the C4. In the slingshot side, you're looking at the fuels, you're looking at the octanes, and as well as their rally. I know the rally will do it. It does have enough forward speed. Most of the kites nowadays, you can do a kite loop with it. The most important thing is make sure it still has its forward drive. If you're going to do it unhooked, you definitely have to make sure your sheeting strap is sheeted in, that the kite has forward drive. If you unhook and the kite kind of stalls a little bit and you turn it, you're not going to get that good yank and pop that's going to help you in that kite loop. So I've got the Hulk here again today. I've got my stick and my kite on it. I'm going to try to give you some small tips to learn the small point of having learning the kite loop and enjoying it. Now, the big thing about the kite loop is if you do it wrong, you can hit the water really hard. So be prepared for that, get your safety ready, and if things don't look right, let go. So let me give you the tips a little bit how we're going to move down here, and you can kind of see the wind direction, and you can see the kite I have here. And what I'm going to do is try to indicate the motion of this kite and having the Hulk with the board. Now, as you're riding along, if you're wanting to learn how to kite loop, the height amount that you're going to get popped off of this water is determined on how far back the kite is before you truly yank it into that turn. Now, if you bring the kite up, and you start bringing that kite up, and it's about right in here, and you start that kite loop, the yank height that it's going to do as soon as that kite starts to come around is it's going to give you that quick tug as soon as it comes around. So if that kite is lower, obviously it's not going to pop you off the water as much. So when you're bringing that kite back, if you start kite looping right in here and you fishing pole it, hang on to one end of the bar, but a lot of people call it fishing pole it, just hanging on to the end, the kite is going to give you that hard yank pretty high, and that's going to rip you up off the water. And as it comes around, as you see, you have no kite support. So when you hit that water, you're going to come down really hard. I do not recommend that at first. At first, I always get someone ride along, slowly bring that kite up pretty high, and then wait a second. Right in that position, think about it. The further that kite is back, that you start the big quick loop, the less it's going to pop you off the water, and you can learn it in a safe motion. So what I always recommend is get riding along, have a little bit of speed. Don't be riding all crazy with a lot of speed, because speed is power, and when you let that kite turn with that energy built into it, it's going to pop you up. So what you want to do is you want to come riding along, stay on a good little plane, stay facing forward at the first point. Bring that kite up higher, higher, higher. Now if you start to slow down and you're getting too slow, give it a good hard yank and hang on to it. And the further that kite is back, as soon as you do that turn, what it's going to do is going to give you a little pop up and see if you can land back down, and the kite's going to come back around. That'll keep you safe. If something goes wrong, you're not high off the water. You're not popping the kite up like this and getting that hard yank way up high and dropping you down. So first step is come along, keep your speed, not too fast, bring the kite over, and as soon as it hits about in this zone, to hang on to one side of that bar and commit to it. You have to commit. So as soon as that kite comes around and gives you a hard yank, be prepared. It's going to kick you up, keep bringing the kite around, and land that move. Now again, just be prepared to let go of the system if you have any problems in there. My favorite way of doing it is if you already know how to do a back loop, coming around like this, just looping as you're riding, that is my favorite position to do a kite loop. But you have to commit to it, because you will end up backwards if you don't continue that loop around. But it's really nice and good timing if you do nail it. So again, what I do is I come in, I ride up, I bring my kite back, As soon as I start turning away to do a little jump, I keep the kite, bring it back, then I loop it. And once I loop it, it kind of gives me a hard, nice yank right in here, and when I come back around and land it, my kite is in position to take off and ride. So the kite loop can be very dangerous if you just don't yank the kite and don't let it get into a high spin when it's really high. Or off to your left here in this position. You want it to come back a little off center, then give it a hard loop. Now, the first step, as I tell you, when you get into this, just ride it. As soon as the kite yanks, turn toward it maybe. Don't hop off the water yet. Get used to the way that that kite is going to pull. So come around, bring it up high, and loop it. As soon as it loops, feel that power and just kind of turn toward the kite so you get used to it. But kite looping is one of those things you have to commit to it. If you're going to do a loop, make sure you continue that loop or it's going to lay you out on your back. It can be very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Take your time. Get into the shallow water and practice and understand where that kite is in the loop and where it's going to kick its power. Because all kites perform differently. As soon as you loop them, knowing when that power surge is going to come is what's most important to you. So, again, take your time, be safe with it. That's Jeff Howard here at Kiteboarding.com, and learn everything you know about your kite. Take your time, put some loops into it, and do it where you're low to the water and not with a lot of energy buildup. You want to understand the move before you start going big like some of the guys you'll see doing the kite loops. So take your time, be patient. If you have any questions, send us some emails, and we hope this helped you out and you learned something new this summer. Thank you very much.